A summary of the massive corruption going on, U.S. government gang stalking, a program of mobbing, unremitting harassment, torture. U.S. government gang stalking target exposes U.S. government gang stalking torture. Number one, what we know about this torture. In an article in The New Scientist entitled "Maximum Pain is the Aim of New U.S. Weapon," March 2nd, 2005, we learn the U.S. military is funding development of a weapon that delivers a bout of excruciating pain from up to 2 kilometers away. This government gang stalking target lives in a twin house attached to a house that has appeared empty for a long time. There is also a house that appears empty on the other side of me. Quote, "But pain researchers are furious that work aimed at controlling pain has been used to develop a weapon, and they fear that the technology will be used for torture." End quote. I think in investigating what kind of pain weapon is being used to torture me, we might have 3 resources mentioned in the article who protested about it. Andrew Rice, a consultant in pain medicine at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital in London, UK. John Wood of the University College London, UK, an expert in how the brain perceives pain. Amanda Williams, a clinical psychologist at University College London. So we know the U.S. military was developing a weapon to deliver maximum pain which could be used in torture. We know that the Office of Naval Research was involved in this. We know that there are naval bases at Coronado, near where I live, and there is Camp Pendleton in Oceanside, CA, where I live. Number 2, we know that my torture pain goes on and off. I can go for periods when it is off, and my right leg, which is targeted, is pain-free. And especially right before I go to bed, it is turned on, and I am often woken up with pain. We know sleep deprivation has been a goal of my government gang stalking, and that was accomplished with noise of power equipment, hammering, and other construction noises. And we know now my sleep deprivation is accomplished with pain which comes at various parts of the day, but usually at night, and it wakes me up. Number 3, we know from an article entitled "DARPA Wants to Jolt the Nervous System with Electricity, Lasers, Sound Waves, and Magnets," the Defense Agency announces funding for 7 projects under its new ElectRx program. And it is about therapies that alter the electrical pulses that run through the nerves. Quote, "The Electric RX program aims to treat disease by modulating the activity of the peripheral nerves that carry commands to all organs and muscles of the human body, and also convey sensory information back to the brain." Quote, "They investigate mechanisms by which to stimulate the nerves and map nerve pathways that respond to that stimulation." Quote, "Researchers will not only stimulate nerves with jolts of electricity, they'll also use pulses of light, sound waves, and magnetic fields." We know that all such research can be used for good or pain, to relieve pain or to cause pain. What struck me in the article was that, quote, "The light-based stimulation research comes from a startup, Circuit Therapeutics. The company was co-founded by Stanford's Carl Deseroth, one of the inventors of optogenetics, the new technique that inserts light-sensitive proteins into neurons and then uses pulses of light to turn those neurons on and off. My torture pain can be turned on and off, so that sometimes during the day it is on and I feel cutting pain in different parts of my right leg, and sometimes it is off and I am pain-free. Also, I suffer this pain when I am inside my house, not when I go outside to a store, etc." Number 4, we know that Natasha Zouvet on her, okay, let's get that light on here. Okay. We know that Natasha Zouvet on her podcast, The Truth of the Matter, and in broadcasts on News Nation, showed how repeatedly various agencies in the U.S. experimented on citizens, giving them radioactive material and more. So it is logical to ask, are various agencies in intel, the military, private contractors, experimenting again, this time on government gang stalking targets like myself, which the U.S. government won't acknowledge exists? Number 5. We know from a document entitled An Epistemological Analysis of Microwave Harassment Claims, Targeted Individuals, Non-Human Intelligence, and Havana Syndrome, Burning or Baloney, it concluded, the document presents an epistemological analysis of claims regarding microwave harassment, particularly focusing on individuals identifying as targeted individuals and those experiencing Havana Syndrome. It explores the credibility of these claims in light of historical research on neuroweapons and the potential for psychological and social factors contributing to these beliefs. The findings suggest that while some claims may not meet the criteria for unwarranted conspiracy theories, they warrant further investigation and consideration by clinicians in their diagnostic processes. So in other words, what this epistemological analysis concluded was that these claims warrant further investigation and consideration by clinicians in their diagnostic processes. Number 6, we know from an article entitled Cold War Non-Consensual Experiments, The Threat of Neuroweapons and the Danger It Will Happen Again, by Cheryl Welch, J.D., who said, during the Cold War, the U.S. government experimented on American citizens without their permission. Although non-consensual experiments are prohibited under the U.S. Constitution, U.S. law allows for waivers and exemptions of informed consent in U.S. government research. This paper examines how and why all major reforms efforts to ban non-consensual experiments have failed. It examines emerging evidence of secret neuroweapons, neuroscience-based weapons that may be comparable to the atomic bomb, and the significant danger of further non-consensual experiments being carried out today. The paper also reviews the current debate on persistent allegations that ongoing non-consensual government experiments are happening again and gives recommendations for future reform efforts. And Cheryl Welch asserts in the article, it examines emerging evidence of secret neuroweapons, neuroscience-based weapons that may be comparable to the atomic bomb and the significant danger of further non-consensual experiments being carried out today. All right, wrote that twice. Sorry about that. Today, the U.S. justice system for experimentation law is so inaccessible or unworkable that an individual's right to be free of non-consensual experimentation can be considered a right without a remedy in the courts. That's what Cheryl Welch said. The U.S. Constitution provides an individual the right to be free from non-consensual experiments, but in practice, a statute is necessary to enforce one's constitutional rights. A statute can provide enforceable human subject protections that can compensate individuals for non-consensual experiments, punish the criminal acts of researchers, and deter further non-consensual experiments. The next section provides an explanation as to why a criminal statute banning non-consensual experiments is essential for ensuring adequate human subject protections. End of quote. Quote, in the past few decades, the medical community and pharmaceutical industry lobbying efforts have been highly successful in blocking human experimentation reform legislation. End of quote. Let's get that back. Quote, Not only the U.S., but major world powers could be testing EMR neuroweapons on non-consenting human research subjects. End of quote. Quote, non-consensual experimentation in national security research is a long-standing, intractable problem. End of quote. Number 7. We know I have exposed the U.S. government gang stalking program on my website, StopGangStalkingPolice2.com. My story of how my government gang stalking began with a new fireman neighbor when I lived in Newburgh, New York, is a YouTube video on my website, StopGangStalkingPolice2.com, and it's also in print, so it tells you how my gang stalking began in 2006. You can read a letter I wrote to Congress explaining my government gang stalking and showing how in 2024 it started to include physical attacks while in my home, with my getting Havana syndrome type symptoms like tinnitus. You can see videos of other government gang stalking targets, one of which is a YouTube video of an interview between government gang stalking target Josh Brown and another government gang stalking target who is a lawyer. You can hear Josh Brown say that an old girlfriend set him up for government gang stalking. Her grandfather retired from Lockheed Martin. So like me, he is saying personal vendettas are often responsible for why people are being targeted for a lifetime of harassment and worse in the U.S. government gang stalking. And I have the link to that YouTube video. We know that even members of Congress have been targeted for spying from our intelligence agencies, and it seems they can't stop it. Number 9, we've heard Dr. Ngita Lemma from Australia. You can Google his name for all the articles he's written on Substack outlining his government gang stalking and torture. He died in his 40s. He said, while non-consensual experiments have occurred many times before, none have ever been carried out on this scale. He said, their objectives are clear: to test new weapons, refine methods of population control, and manipulate the minds of their victims, all with the ultimate aim of imposing total domination, not just on those they directly target, but on the general population as well. He said, it appears that intelligence agencies have effectively become the true power overshadowing elected governments. That would explain why members of our Congress are spied on by our intelligence agencies and they can't seem to stop it. Number 10, we know Dr. Rauni Kilde discovered, she went to a lot of international conferences and printed in one of her books, the manual for organized gang stalking operations. I have a link to it, and it's on my website. 12. We know if you go to my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com @Bonnie Lee C, BONNIELEEC, that's my YouTube channel. And if you look under playlists, you can see 34 videos under government gang stalking, a mini holocaust, that will show you what the mobbing of my government gang stalking looks like. 34 videos that under playlists on my YouTube channel, Bonnie Lee C, I have pictures of police gang stalking, firemen gang stalking, and more. You can see the video at the top of my website, StopGangStalkingPolice2.com, that shows police gang stalking, and a video entitled ABC News, Couple Harassed with Organized Gang Stalking Noise Harassment Campaign, at the top of my website, StopGangStalkingPolice2.com. Let's get that back. that shows a couple gang stalked after a dispute with a fire chief. Fireman gang stalk. Number 13. For all these reasons, I ask for a congressional investigation into U.S. government gang stalking. The corruption here is staggering because it involves not only the United States, but some or all of NATO countries. I ask investigative reporters and just ordinary citizens to help expose U.S. government gang stalking, the lifetime of mobbing, unremitting harassment, and now torture. Thank you for listening.